My name is Nate Kern, and I'll be racing this weekend during the ASRA National Thunderbike Weekend on the new BMW R1200S.
So you know Nate?
Yeah, he passes me a lot. It's always real close racing with the horsepower to weight ratio that they have for this class. It's pretty rare that there's a walkaway. It's usually a battle all the way into the end.
He's on a bike that's 100 pounds heavier than everything else, nowhere near as much horsepower, and he's just winning by minutes.
I, being a BMW owner, have waited for years to see some good competition. My son becoming a great fan, we have followed him very feverishly for the last couple of years. I think he's just the right person for this type of equipment. Great opportunity for him, also a great opportunity for BMW.
Nate wins races, period. I mean, when you're sitting there and you're wrenching and you're sweating and you're changing tires and sometimes things are fast-paced, you know, and it gets kind of hectic. Winning races, that's what makes things better.
Tire pressures are set, the bike's ready to go. Just got to make sure he's good. My name's Chris. I've been a mechanic my whole life, and Nate chose me to help him out, change his tires, do all the maintenance on the bikes.
I know I'm real competitive either way, wet or dry, but I'm more worried if it rains this weekend because Nate's is beaming in the wet. Dave Estock, I'm riding in the Azure Thunderbike Series.
People would have to ride his bike at his level to really get an understanding of how good he is. I do not know how he does it. To my knowledge, we're the only BMW race team in America right now. My name's Todd Cutchins, and I'm one of Nate's mechanics. I change his tires, work on his brakes, and help him with his suspension.
All I know is his bike's heavier than this one and it's fast. I mean, he can ride the wheels off of it, so that's basically what it is. Keith Delk, I'm from Newcastle, Virginia.
Most of the other riders that know the bike and have ridden the bike have nothing but respect for Nate because most people can't come close to the lap times that Nate does.
I'm not just going to sit back there and follow him in second or something. They got to watch out for me to throw it up inside of him.
The way I've seen him enter race after race, class after class, it not only spoke to the capability of the machinery, but also his physical endurance.
I think Nate puts in more laps during the weekend than anybody else because he enters all these CCS races plus the Azure races, and for him not to wear out a bike, that shows that BMW is building a real good motorcycle.
Make a bike that big, roll, I mean, he can ride.
There's probably about 4 of us riders that are fast out there this weekend. There's myself, Dan Belansky, Brian Bemis Surfer, and we're all on fuels, and then Nate will be on the BMW.
It's own stock. It doesn't get any stocker than that year.
Hey Nate, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, man? Hey, I got something new for you this time, all right? Yeah, that's my buddy Nate. Hey, Nate. Nate, all right. He's got the N8. Good man. Cool. All right. This is my 5th season, and I spent 1 weekend as an amateur in 2002. I went to Daytona, and I entered 8 races, and I won all 8 races as an amateur. So they bumped me up to regional pro status. And as a regional pro, I went out and won my first regional pro race. But then in 2003, the next year actually, I just had an opportunity. The BMW Motorrad Boxer Cup came to Daytona for the first time. And that was pretty cool. A local BMW club asked me if I'd like to ride their bike, and never went back really since. I went into it totally oblivious, kind of like everybody else. It's just overweight and underpowered. I just judged it by its cover, and I went out there and I just kept looking down. Man, this thing's doing things I never thought possible. And it was really cool to finally see what real engineering's like, not mass-produced engineering, like actual thought-out engineering on why the parts work together and how they work together. I did not expect the bike to turn at all because, again, you see these big jugs sticking out. It was really neat, though, to see how the telelever works. That's probably my favorite part of the bike, is no more conventional forks. I really like the telelever. I didn't expect it to turn as well, again, also because I'm used to motors hanging from frames instead of the motor being the frame. And when the frame is the motor, the stressed member is the motor, there's no chassis flex. A lot more nimble than what you would think. Those guys in Germany know exactly what they're doing. This weekend's a lot different than last. Obviously, we're not in Kansas anymore, you know what I'm saying? But, Out at Heartland Park Raceway, which is in Topeka, Kansas, being such a new track to asphalt, there's a lot better traction there, but they had a lot slower corners. Here at VIR, there's faster corners, has a higher average speed. So instead of less traction, slower corners, now it's doubly compressing because it's fast corners with good traction. What's happening basically is once you lean it into the corner, both ends compress and it pulls the cylinder heads down into the ground. And that can easily be changed once we get a little more development today, a little more testing. I need to find out just how high we make it, because if you get too high, now the center of gravity is too high and the bike won't handle as well. Going right from Georgia to Kansas, qualified second for the national on a bone stock bike versus bikes that have factory backing. Shocked me, and I knew the bike was capable of being in the top 5, but not that far up. Right now I'm running a pace, consistent minute 37 flats, high minute 36s, which is more than good enough to put it on the podium for a regional race, but for the national, I need to get into the 35s consistently. I see that happening. It's just, it takes a lot of focus and feedback from what the bike's telling me. To be able to get the rear to operate right, and then to get the front not working too well, then you get the front dialed in, it throws off the rear. You're trying to find a happy medium, a balance point, so that the whole bike works together in unison. But again, right out of the crate, absolutely amazed how well it is versus our 3-year-old R11S. It has tens of thousands into it. Handles unbelievably well, brakes very well. Where the new one has very, very powerful engine.
Riders that never rode BMW, they absolutely hate it. You know, they think he's got a bike that's this super bike that's unparalleled anything else, and it's really not. I mean, we're running a bone stock crate bike.
What makes this bike really stock is we uncrated it and we took out the headlight. Right now, until we have a front number plate molded with fiberglass, we have a piece of cardboard with duct tape over it, and the suspension, the springs, are what you would ride on the street. We still have our heated grips, which we don't really need this weekend. We still have our turn signal switches. We still have our anti-lock brakes. If it rains, I'm leaving it on. BMW loves the rain. The BMW is a very good bike in the rain because the weight of the bike allows the tires to cut down to the asphalt for traction, but also it allows the bike, through the shaft drive, the power to come on smoothly versus a chain drive. It's a very forgiving bike. That's why I really enjoy a lot about this bike is you can ride it very hard. And you definitely can't judge a book by its cover. It's done things that I never thought possible. And I've gotten into some pretty bad situations out there, and it's held up really, really well. My name's Nate Kern, and today I'm going to take you for a lap of Virginia International Raceway. And I'll be racing this weekend during the ASRA National Thunderbike weekend on the new BMW R1200S. You're going to set it up wide, start turning in towards the tree in the flag stand. It's going to set you up for the exit, which you'll see it starts to open up. What I typically aim for is the very end of this white stripe basically shoots me straight down towards my brake markers, and have your body in position for the turn end. Turn 2 is basically just a little bend to the right, but turn 3 is a very deceptive turn. You turn into the rumble strip right here, but then you go straight out. It looks like you're basically going off the track, turn in nice and late. As you exit turn 3, again, you're optimizing the center of the tire and you're able to accelerate and gain momentum. Again, you drive out wide. Turn 4 is basically a 90-degree left-hand corner. Force yourself to go slower. If you overcook 4, you're done until turn 7. You run it out wide coming out of 5. Stay wide, have a little patience, and as we enter turn 5, you'll see that the track opens up in a straight line. Even though there's turns, you can cut a straight line to actually run over the rumble strips. That's part of the track also. We're coming through turn 6. You come out of there in 3rd gear, you accelerate up to 4th gear. You start sitting up, make sure that your line is right. You want to run it out wide like we are now. Start working our way towards the top of the corner. You see how the track opens up in front of us. We're straight lining turn 7 to turn 8. We'll wait a little later, a little wider. Now we're going to cut it in, start working our way back towards the apex of 9. So we can straight line it right here into turn 10. Turn 10 is a very fast right-hander that is downhill. You have to run it out wide a little bit here to bring it back. And as you straighten it up for 11, 12, 13, and 14, which is just that short segment, run over the rumble strips. You try to use as much track as you can. Give yourself that extra space on the entrance. You have double that on the exit to work with. Now we're entering turn 14, which is called the roller coaster. The roller coaster is a good 9 to 10 story drop. To straight line this, rumble strip to rumble strip, 14 to 15, we're gonna go straight out to set up for 16. And have body position, be very pressure sensitive on the front brakes and have a lot of throttle control. Slowly pick up the throttle, you just ease it on. One continuous right-hand turn, run it out very wide and accelerate out of the corner. Pick your marker on the track, 6th gear flat out. There's no room for error. Coming up to the kink here, we're lined up nice and wide, and this will complete one full lap of Virginia International Raceway. I'm gonna go down and talk to our suspension engineer and just talk through what the bike's doing out there, and through articulation we can consolidate a lot of time. Fine-tune adjustments, you never do anything drastic. It's problem solving, you know, it's how you figure out what's going on. With the higher speed corners here than Topeka, which is more of a point and shoot track, belly pan, valve cover, I mean, I took more off in that last session than I did in 2 weekends. So the whole bike, if I can just make the whole bike taller. My other bike is taller, it's a lot taller. For that purpose, we made it very tall, the R11S. So the heavier spring is gonna naturally make the rear taller.
Yep.
But is there adjustment in the front shock to also make it taller?
Yep.
All right, good, thank you, Kent. 3/4 of the rear is driving out of the corner. 3/4 of the front is coming into the corner, braking, entering. The rear is exiting, the front is entering, and then the other 2/4 work together mid-corner.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good, we're going in the right direction.
You know, once I got off the brakes, I didn't have to use more body to get it to turn. The bike, the geometry is getting closer, so I'm happy. Well, we raised the rear, we put a 20 Newton meter rear spring on the shock. So that stiffness, that added preload, raises the rear and plants the front more, and planting the front makes the bike turn. There's more rubber on the ground turning. Again, I'll go out in the next session. The adjustment we made to the rear will let me know, the feedback I get will let me know what the front, if it's unhappy now, which I think it might be, but the rear, again, exiting the corner, the rear could be really good. I'm just optimistic now. Okay, that feels better. Now we got to go test the front, which might throw off the rear a little bit. We're going to raise the front. Is there any way of just going 3 mil on the front? I just want to go 3 millimeters taller on the front to level it out a little bit. 3 millimeter could be the difference between half a second. That last adjustment we made with the shock, absolutely. I mean, it made not a little, but a big gain. Again, the rear shock primarily is for the drive out of the corner, and it drives out really hard now.
Get out there and get a couple paint jobs on them valve covers, you know?
All I know is it just shut off on me, and we're second fastest. Qualified second again on a bone stock bike.
Does the qualification hold?
No,
Because you didn't finish.
Because I got to do a dyno pull. I'm going to get started on the last row. If the bike, I don't even have a bike to race Thunder Bike now if this thing breaks because I don't have a backup.
Worst case scenario is that he doesn't have compression in that cylinder. And he's getting fuel, he's getting spark, nothing's happening because he doesn't have compression. So we got to test for all three of those.
The number 1 bike and the 98 bike, number 1 is 3rd in the championship. The 98 is 5 points in front of me. We're 2nd in the championship. About second lap into it, we were definitely good enough to be on the front row. When I was nervous about even making the front row. About 4 laps into it, I let my last downshift out. I got on the gas and it sputtered out. The engine died.
You see it right here.
Are you able to look at the other one and make sure that one doesn't break either?
Oh yeah. If this little push rod in here that broke is specific to the 1200 motor, then it may be hard to find one, and it's just going to be a matter of calling around to find out who has it. I need a T30.
Hey Ben, my name's Nate. I race for Mainline BMW here on the East Coast, and is Chris Hodgson there? It's rather important. We're here at Virginia International Raceway and we need his expertise. We're doing live testing instead of testing at a track by ourselves. We're definitely just throwing it out there. The bike doesn't even have any setup in it. We're talking suspension or anything. It's just, that's how good it is. If there is an opportunity to get those 4, we're 2nd in the championship now. I will seriously pay whoever they want to go to that dealership and pull it out of their showroom floor.
He's at the dealership right now.
Motorcycle dealership?
And car, yeah.
This is Hammersley BMW in Lynchburg.
Yeah.
They're willing to give us, I mean, other BMW dealers are willing to support us to keep the show going.
The problem is who's going to have one in stock.
No, they're taking them off the showroom floor, off of the bike, out of the heads. Again, the main reason why I do this, the main reason why I've turned down other manufacturers is community. Okay, we have another BMW dealer, Hammersley in Lynchburg. It looks good that they're going to pull these right out of the heads of a stock bike on the showroom floor for us. We're starting dead last. You watch, on the opening lap, I'll be in the top 5 by the 2nd lap. It's this piece right here. Into that race basically just really concentrating on the difference in the bikes. Now I'm back on the 3-year-old R11S and everything felt real good. After about the 2nd lap, I remembered what it was like to run Old Faithful. Get your head on straight for traffic. Lap traffic is a whole nother race. Once you start coming up on guys that are going 5, sometimes 8 seconds a lap slower, you really have to think about what you're doing. You know, do I give up a little now and go slower into the corner knowing that I can pass them in the next, or do I chance passing them underneath and taking both of us out? So it's a very, very big strategy out there. And there were 2 yellow flags, one on the back side and one on the front side. And with a waving yellow, you can't pass in that corner. It was a long race with lap traffic. I went out there and put my head down off the start, got a great hole shot. Really thought about my line going into 1 instead of running a defensive line and killing my exit. I ran a line as if it was lap number 5. I looked back a 2nd time on each lap and I could see where I was losing them. So in the sections that I was losing them, I put my head down and rode harder. K12R. It put life back into this whole program. Just thoroughly impressed with the K12R.
Our valve lifter, it's a push rod motor. There's little lifters about 2 inches long. We were lucky enough that they ripped one off a brand new bike sitting on the showroom floor and sent it out to us, and we got it last night, got it fixed up, and bike's running great.
Yeah, we had a mechanical yesterday in qualifying.
I got it like 90% put back together. Before we got the part, when I got the part in, it took me about another hour, and it was running.
And it seems to be okay now.
I'm going to go in this regional sprint race now that I'm leading the championship in and just shake it down. About 3 laps into it, started spritzing at the top of the hill in turn 14, and right away you got to really adjust, you got to change what you're thinking, and by the 4th lap it was raining hard, and the whole bike was wiggling all over the place. Unless there's standing puddles and pouring, we're not going to run rain tires. They actually melt if it's dry out. Next lap around, about 3 riders down, they all just came running in there and boop, 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 they all just lost the front and just crashed. And then the red flag came out, thank goodness, and they finished the race. They were smart.
Nate Kern going to be credited with the win.
I keep pinching myself. The BMW community never ceases to, amaze me.
The BMW family is what sort of keeps it together. You get to know the people, you get to know the bikes, you get to know the whole organization.
Nate, he has a magnetic personality. He's a nice guy. He's a generally nice guy. There's nothing fake about Nate. That's the whole thing.
Younger riders, come join us.
It's a different generation. He's a great rider, no doubt about it.
Nice to see Beamer running fast again.
He's a guy, when you do something, he'll come up and say, hey, thanks, Todd. Hey, good job, Todd. I mean, that's what you look for.
Nate's an outstanding ambassador to that. His nature of his personality, opening, welcoming, go Nate, go Beamer.
Each rider is motivated by different aspects. Fortunately for me, it's people.